Video games throughout the years have offered some unforgettable experiences, and everyone has their share of favorite moments. This extends to titles from the 2000s as well, and even if they don't have the most cutting-edge visuals by today's standards, their moments will live on forever. So let's take a look at 15 of the greatest moments from back then that we all remember. Spoilers inbound, so be warned. Before we begin, please consider subscribing and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's get started. Battle with Ganondorf, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. After the King of Hyrule uses the Triforce for Zelda and Link, the final battle with Ganondorf begins. The duo fight together as Zelda uses arrows to cover Link, eventually bouncing the shots off the latter's shield to gain an advantage. Upon his demise, Ganondorf comments on the wind that he coveted so much and how it's blowing again before Hyrule is subsequently submerged. A Train to Catch, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Uncharted 2 already has one of the best openings, with Nathan Drake awakening on a train hanging off of a cliff. The actual mission leading up to this sees Drake jumping aboard the train as it moves through the jungle.
So, how do you plan on getting her off that speeding train?
Haven't thought that far ahead.
Of course not.
Okay, here we go.
No, hold on. Almost there. Just now! Jump!
Jumping from one car to another, battling foes while narrowly avoiding death, hiding from an attack helicopter. That the mission could deliver so many great water cooler moments is a testament to just how good Uncharted 2 is. Entering City 17, Half-Life 2.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
Everyone remembers the end of Episode 2, but how about when Half-Life 2 first started? Gordon Freeman is once again on a tram, but on disembarking, he sees Dr. Breen on a large display. The next area is full of chain-link fences and imposing Combine soldiers, and after briefly reuniting with Barney from the first game, the player emerges onto City 17's oppressive streets. The atmosphere, with the imposing citadel in the distance, the checkpoints, Combine conducting raids, and drones dotting the streets make it all too apparent the world is in need of a revolution. Kratos declares war, God of War 2. God of War 2's climax is pretty much a roller coaster throughout, whether it's seeing Kratos best Zeus or watching Athena sacrifice herself to prevent Zeus's death. But then the most improbable and totally awesome thing happens. Kratos goes back in time, brings the Titans to the present, and declares war on Olympus. Cliffhanger endings might not be everyone's thing, but the closing sequence of Kratos on Gaia's back as the giants scale the mountain was great. Big Boss and Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. The ending to Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots is fairly extensive, but the last scene is the most hard-hitting. As Solid Snake is about to end himself, who else should appear to stop him but Big Boss, the legendary leader long thought to be dead. After explaining everything about his survival, the Patriots, and so on, Big Boss tells Snake to live on fighting, not as a prisoner of fate, but as his own person, before finally passing on. The first time playing, Wii Sports. Motion controls seemed like a far-flung dream back in the day, and even with the mighty Nintendo taking a crack, it didn't feel like the Wii would actually pull it off. Cue Wii Sports, which was packed with most consoles in almost all territories, and actually felt good to play. Actually using the Wiimote like a tennis racket or a golf club, and seeing the gameplay respond in kind was simply incredible. It wasn't perfect, but it showed the world that motion controls could indeed be fun. The Train Mission, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. 2 train missions on one list? Well, you better believe it. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow sees Sam Fisher boarding a train to investigate Norman Soth. The mission starts with Sam on top of a train as it travels at high speeds, and naturally, because he's committed to stealth, Fisher ultimately has to move along the undercarriage to avoid detection. And if that wasn't enough, he ventures sideways, hanging off the train and taking care not to be detected by the passengers inside. Not quite as explosive as Uncharted 2, but this entire mission was just as tense. SCARECROW'S nightmare sequences. Batman Arkham Asylum.
What was that?
Batman is the man with no fear. Or maybe that's Daredevil. Either way, little Brucey isn't getting scared. But that isn't going to stop Scarecrow from trying his hallucinations on Batman anyway. Although Arkham Asylum features several excellent sections focusing on several gameplay and story mechanics, Scarecrow's nightmare sequences are easily one of the biggest highlights of this 2009 classic. First time in Liberty City, Grand Theft Auto 3. When the opening credits appeared, it was obvious that Grand Theft Auto 3 was going to be something special. After protagonist Claude breaks out of his prison escort, the player drives through Liberty City for the first time, exploring its fully 3D environments firsthand. It was a whole new experience for video games, as pedestrians and cars roamed the streets, and one could cause random chaos at will. Final Battle, Persona 3. Nyx's avatar is the final boss of Persona 3 as it plans to summon Nyx and bring about the end of the world. The Seas must stop it, of course, battling 14 Arcana, one after another. That's 14 straight phases of a boss fight, each with their own unique mechanics and quirks, without saving progress even once. It's all for naught as Nyx is summoned anyway, but this leads to a bittersweet end as the protagonist sacrifices himself to seal it away. Meeting Valis, Shadow of the Colossus. It all sounds so simple at first. Just slay the Colossi in order to revive Mono. Wander sets out to locate the first Colossus, traversing the massive landscape, climbing across cliffs and ancient ruins. Suddenly, Valis appears, solemnly walking by, and the camera shifts back to the player's perspective as they actually run up and attempt to battle this massive being. The sheer difference in scale is awe-inspiring and never lets up throughout the game. Stepping foot on Talon 4, Metroid Prime. Though not technically the beginning, Samus's landing on Talon 4 is when Metroid Prime's core gameplay loop truly gets going. Watching her ship land on the planet with the camera cutting between the overworld's gorgeous sights right before Samus emerges and sets foot really underscored just how far the franchise had come. More importantly, it teased yet another Metroid world full of secrets and sights just waiting to be explored. First chainsaw kill, Gears of War. Before Gears of War launched, we had known of the absurdity that was the chainsaw bayonet, from its concept to the sheer amount of bloodshed it would cause. But actually using it for the first time was something else. You couldn't just bust it out like a melee attack, it had to be properly revved. And once it sunk in, the sheer feedback and spectacle was simply fantastic. Nuking Megaton, Fallout 3. Despite its new perspective and developer, Fallout 3 mostly carried on that legacy, with the Megaton decision being a standout. Would you disarm the atomic bomb at the center of the city at the behest of Sheriff Sims, or detonate it for Mr. Burke and wipe Megaton off the map? Choosing the latter resulted in a view of the town's destruction from afar. It was a different kind of experience, one that adds tons of rightly deserved negative karma. Deleting saves, NIER Replicant or Gestalt. To save Kane at the end of NIER Replicant or Gestalt, the player must sacrifice their existence. That doesn't just mean surrendering the protagonist's life, but deleting all of one's save data. After going through multiple dialogue boxes asking if you're really sure about this, all of the items, weapons, and so on start disappearing from the menus, ending with your save data. But seeing Kane survive, unsure of what happened as she cries, makes it all worth it. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.